Strengthening Agribusiness Ethics, Quality Standards and ICT Usage in Uganda's Value Chains, AGRI-QUEST, is a 3-year research project funded by Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs through NWO Watro. Makerere University Business School, MOOBS, is the lead research institution. Other core implementing institutions are the Ssemwanga Center for Agriculture and Food Limited, Vrije University Amsterdam, and Chibedi and Company Advocates. The research was initiated to find answers to one central question: how can we have a better business climate that fosters a permanent and positive gradual change in practices, attitudes in agribusiness towards ethical behavior, quality standards in food security, and agribusiness initiatives? Dr. David Katamba, the lead researcher in this project, explains.
How can we have a better business climate in Uganda and also globally, but with particular emphasis on 5 value chains, that is rice, potato, dairy, cassava, and the oilseed. We believe it's not an easy thing to do, but we shall start the journey so that we can foster a positive and gradual change in our business practices.
Despite the benefits enshrined in embracing ethical and quality issues with respect to accelerating transformation, competitiveness, and sustainability of a vibrant food security program and a vibrant food game, there is a considerable lack of attention to these 2 issues in agribusiness value chains in Uganda.
By doing this project, we'd like to establish alternative ways of how we can encourage players in agribusiness, players in agriculture. How can we encourage them to engage in a dialogue of how to introduce ethical agricultural standards? We also want to develop and disseminate resources which can help to inform the agribusiness players ways of respecting quality standards and ethical practices.
The complex nature of this question can best be answered through multi-stakeholder engagements that involve various agribusiness players. Hence, as an applied research project, AGRI-QUEST will utilize engagement processes that include capacity building of farmers and value chain players, wide consultations and stakeholder engagement to ensure buy-in, uptake of research outcomes, and knowledge exchange for a better business climate. The research was composed of Dr. David Katamba, the lead researcher, Dr. James Ssemwanga, project coordinator at Ssemwanga Center for Agriculture and Food Research, Associate Professor Christopher Wickert, co-principal investigator at Vrije University Amsterdam in Netherlands, Ms. Janet Namudu, senior project staff at Chibedi and Company Advocates, Mr. Andrew Seruma, the student researcher, Mr. Dennis Chikonyogo, Ms. Tethla Nachibuka, Dr. Cedric Nchiko, Ms. Elizabeth Ssemwanga, financial coordinator, and Ms. Catherine Tindiwensi, a student researcher. The project started in January 2016 and will end in January 2019. It is overseen by the Applied Research Fund, NWO Watro Science for Global Development in The Hague, Netherlands. Dr. David Katamba, the AGRI-QUEST program lead researcher, and Dr. James Ssemwanga of Ssemwanga Center for Agriculture and Food Limited explained the project objectives.
The idea of the project was to introduce an intervention that addresses directly the matter of unethical behavior in agribusinesses. Uganda is a post-conflict nation with peculiar qualities. It is surrounded by large economies and large political territories. So because of that, there's a lot of dynamic activity within the agricultural sector, which fits across all the borders of the country.
The main objectives of the project are to establish alternative ways of encouraging beneficiaries of agriculture development supported initiatives to engage in dialogue on introducing ethical agriculture standards, develop and disseminate resources necessary to make informed, ethical, and quality standard-based decisions in support of a more just and equitable food and agriculture value chain system. Ascertain how decision-making procedures in international food and agriculture policy and practices can be implemented by agricultural players at the bottom of the pyramid. Assist agricultural value chain micro players to adhere to basic codes of conduct. Review existing agribusiness quality standards, ethical dilemmas, and mobile ICT. Create applications like mobile apps to determine their appropriateness in sustaining a competitive agribusiness climate. Develop a website and mobile app which can be used as a reference point for agriculture standards and ethical practices, and a farmer to buyer brokerage and market information access point. And finally, to address a fundamental question: how can we have a better business climate in Uganda that fosters a permanent and positive gradual change in practices and attitudes in agribusiness towards ethical behavior and quality standards in food security and agribusiness initiatives? The researchers noted that it was not easy to get information from value chain players. Dr. Katamba David explains.
We had to move to the gardens to find out how exactly these farmers go about attempts to improve quality. Identifying screening houses, identifying farmers, working with the districts so that we go out to those people even where the extension workers had failed to reach.
After all the possibilities used, the AGRI-QUEST research team found out a number of issues. Promising though, the agribusiness and value chain players interacted with so far in Bulisa, Butaleja, Bujiri, Kapchorwa, Mbale, Palisa, Sironko, Hoima, Lira, Pader, and Apache, all being some of the districts in Uganda targeted by AGRI-QUEST. They felt that it is important to have ethical agriculture practices and voluntary in-house quality standards. For example, how to store rice and keep it safe from rat infestation, and how to dry maize and beans without stepping in them. Most agribusiness and value chain players at the lower levels of value chains that were interacted with are not aware that they are part of the international food and agriculture value chains. Most stakeholder and project targeted respondents expected agribusiness to meet their costs incurred for participating in our research project. For example, for giving us data, transport them to workshops, and buy for them airtime. In addition to that, some of them expected to receive materials to use in their businesses, such as produce drying materials for quality improvement, like mats, rugs, and buy for them mobile phones that are internet enabled, especially ahead of our ICT app and farmer to buyer platform to be developed. Farmers do not see the immediate short and medium term value of committing to ethical practices. There is prevalence of corruption, which impacts heavily on integrity and transparency in value chains, and insufficient investment capital to pay for improved infrastructure like solar drying equipment, replace worn-out tarpaulins, and to pave or cement the floors of drying houses, and yet limited access to extension services that promote ethical business behavior and quality standards. The main focus of this project was to advance interests and energy towards one aspect of development, which is ethically considered to be at par with other new concepts. AGRI-QUEST has created awareness among the community. The team has managed to publish the information and data collected by producing magazines and videos, spreading information to the value chain player through dissemination, creating trust between farmers and stakeholders, as well as transparency in all sectors through to the bottom of the pyramid. The project has managed to create awareness and observance of ethical standards.
So far we have carried out some situation analysis. We have carried out some stakeholder interaction with stakeholders, different stakeholders, and awareness creation.
The researchers noted loopholes in the governance of production. Therefore, regulation must be followed and dialogue needed among the actors. The project has managed to reach over 300,000 micro players and farmers. The players have also welcomed the idea to work with the team. AGRI-QUEST has managed to work collaboratively with big institutions like the National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO, AGRI-Profocus, Africa 2000 Network, Sasakawa Global 2000, who also embraced the findings and are also coming up with over 17 policy briefs that polish the agenda. There is a considerable lack of attention to issues in agribusiness value chains in Uganda. These include ethical behavior and quality standards with respect to accelerating transformation, competitiveness, and sustainability of a vibrant food security program and agribusiness. People asking for money to provide information, which is a big problem to the research team. The researchers also noticed that changing the mindset is a serious challenge among value chain players, which affects farmers. An example is of dairy farmers who deliberately add dirty water in milk so that they can have more quantity, as well as cassava growers who dry cassava on the ground, while rice farmers add stones in their produce in order to increase the quantity. This, in the long run, affects the production chain. And lastly, most research projects never take back the information to the researchers. Associate Professor Christopher Wickert, a co-principal investigator from Vrije University, Netherlands, explains that this project has helped Vrije University and Makerere University Business School, MOBS, to create a good working relationship to improve and maintain quality standards in agribusiness, plus sharing research ideas between the two universities. AGRI-QUEST allowed to establish long-term and sustainable relationships between researchers from Uganda and the Netherlands. The project is fundamentally built on the exchange of mutual expertise and learning. Each year throughout the project duration included field trips of Dutch researchers to Uganda, who significantly contributed to the scientific output of the project and supported the local Ugandan staff in the project's dissemination activities. Due to the quality of the established relationships and the value of cross-cultural exchange between project staff from Uganda and the Netherlands, further collaborations will be undertaken in the nearby future. Having traveled and carried out research in different agribusiness and value chain to the bottom of the pyramid, AGRI-QUEST research team managed to also create a good working relationship within the value chain players. As the business climate improves, a number of issues also gain more importance. It is very important for the value chain actors to work with the different farmers and also be able to attract more investors. Mr. Seruma explains about the problem of mindset among the value chain players, which in turn affects the production. He also notes that lack of communication between players is a major hindrance in the value chain.
Problems that we have identified throughout this project is the change of a mindset. When you look at ethical behavior, you find that people throughout the different value chains, people are doing things specifically because they don't look at the future. They're not looking at where these products are ending up. Give an example of rice itself, whereby the rice, somebody intentionally is adding stones, okay, and then the stones definitely are going, the rice won't fetch a higher price at the end of the day. So I think one of the key things is how are we going to turn around the mindsets of the people.
There is also limited collaboration among the value chain actors, which leads to self-interests on the part of the different value chain actors.
I'm Catherine Tindwensi. I'm a researcher on the AGRI-QUEST team, and I'm a lecturer at Makerere University Business School. We've been conducting research for the last 3 years. This study, we've come up with several findings which we think can actually help the value chain actors to improve the way they've been doing business in agribusinesses. There is very little collaboration between the different value chain actors, and this leads to self-interest on the part of the different value chain actors. We also found out that there is little awareness about the standards and the quality requirements. Even for example, the farmers, they lack the capacity to implement some of the codes of conduct that are recommended.
My name is Chikonago Dennis. I'm the project support staff of AGRI-QUEST. One of the challenges that have been encountered into this project is majorly bureaucracy into the respondents. Basically, when it comes to the policy implementers, how you deliver, how you get research information data, and how you manage to disseminate information. It became a challenge to use and being that there is really a gap between the policy implementers, basically on the government levels and the lower farmer down.
Ms. Janet Namudu, a senior project staff, says that although the project majorly focused on agribusiness, the project idea needs to be streamlined.
First of all, I've come to appreciate the challenges that are faced by the farmers at the bottom of the pyramid. They have communication issues because most of the brochures, the insert information about the raw materials that they use and the communication tools made in English, they are written in English, and many of the farmers at the bottom of the pyramid do not understand this language. Most of them are illiterate.
The project team had to translate the information into their local languages. The Deputy Principal, Makerere University Business School, explains that this project will help the university to start up short courses concerning agribusiness at the university as part of the outreach.
We plan to start a Bachelor of Agribusiness Management. We plan to start a Master of Agribusiness Management, and so I think these concepts will find their way on the curriculum. Marketing is part of what we do. Anything to do with management and business that touches the project, touches agriculture, is our business. And I think we should be able to make use of this project.
I would like to thank the Netherlands government, especially the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through their agency NW2O, who gave us this grant, where it was competitive, but I would say they gave it to us, because we had ever tried to fund this project through the Ministry of Agriculture and we never succeeded. But when we present the idea to the Netherlands, they pushed it into a competition where we managed winners.